Hello, good evening. How are you guys doing? I can't actually go live on all my platforms, so I'm just here with you on Facebook. So say hi if you're catching this. I know it's late, but I've been procrastinating over sharing this, and so I'm like, sod it, I'm just going to share it because it's been really useful to my students who are doing my Iconic Growth Academy in the course, and so I wanted to share it with you guys. I don't actually know how clear you're going to be able to see this on the screen or whether you can like enlarge or whatever. Hopefully it's like big enough for you to see. But say hi if you're here, type replay. If you're catching on the replay, it'll be cool to see who logs in, who is seeing this. But I want to share this with you because it's something that I came across and it made total sense to me. So this is something that I love, a guy called Alex Hormozi. He's like an online marketer. And when I saw this, I found it really difficult to unsee it. And you guys might know, but I'm a business coach. And so I help people to grow their audience, to make daily sales, and to launch and make big cash injections in their business. And I see lots of people that I work with, lots of people that I come across. I watch lots of people online do this same thing over and over again. So if you are someone who has got stuck, if you are someone who has changed their mind like a lot of times, or you tend to like do new things all the time, then this might really resonate with you, or you might be able to tag someone who it resonates with, and it could help. But I felt like this is huge, and to kind of identify where you are right now, whether you have started a business, whether you're thinking about starting a business, whether you're watching other people build businesses and you're like, I'm tempted, do I need to do this? So who here, and you can tell me in the comments because it's probably happened to all of us, but you've seen a friend or you've seen something online where they tell you about what they're doing, about the money they're making maybe, and you immediately feel really shitty about what it is that you're doing. Normally you're already in a business, or you're thinking about doing it, or you've just got started, you're at like the beginning phases, and you're thinking like, okay, I'm at this stage where I'm super excited, and we call this stage like uninformed optimism. You are optimistic, but you are also really uninformed. Like, oh my God, like I've seen this shiny thing. We call it sometimes shiny object syndrome. And you think like, oh my God, I should get out of what I'm doing and I should do what they're doing instead. I should do that. And the reason is because we're at step one, we're at this uninformed optimism, and you don't know enough about what they're saying. They're just giving you the highlights. They're giving you the Instagram reel. They're giving you like some results. So you decide to get out of your little vehicle. Maybe it's the business that you've just started, or maybe it's the business you've been going at for a while. You get out of your vehicle and you decide to go over there and then tell your buddy or the person that you followed, hey, like, I'm not making money. So you've got started in it, but you're like, hey, I'm not making, I'm doing what you said I should do, or I'm following what I think you're doing, and I'm not really making any money yet. And they're like, oh yeah, that's because you also need to do this, and this, like name 100 steps, right, in the process. Because building a business is not that easy. I teach people how to build online businesses, and there are loads of steps involved. But if I was just like, oh, build a business to 7 figures and it's super easy, well, that seems shiny and attractive, and people are like, okay, so I'll do that. Uninformed optimism stage until you get started and you realize, oh, actually, to get to that point, probably where the person is that you followed, that you've got the shiny object syndrome from, they're then like, okay, you have to do this, and this, like another 100 other freaking steps that they didn't talk to you about in the beginning. But it's like, well, it's just how it is. And you're now starting to think, oh shit, I should have just kept going with the thing that I was doing. And because now I'm starting like to realize, oh, right, there's so many other like things that I have to do in order to get to that point. It's not as shiny as I first thought it was. But yeah, let's keep going. So now you move to stage 2, because now you realize you've got to do this, and this before you actually get to the results of where you want to go. So now you've entered stage 2, which is informed pessimism. You're now aware that there is shit involved, like to make the money that you want to make in whatever the thing is that you've been shiny object syndrome to. So you think, okay, this is probably the worst part, but then time lapses. And it's still kind of shitty, right? You still haven't made any money yet. It really sucks now because now you've invested more time into it and you still got 0 to show for it. So then this is where people get to this point, this crisis of meaning. So you might still be in this phase, this uninformed optimism. You haven't quite realized yet, actually, to get to that, I still need to do this, and this. Or you might have now realized and you're still going, but like there are no results coming back in from it. And so now you get to this point. This is the crisis of meaning. Why the am I doing all of this? What the hell am I doing? Why does money even matter anyways? Who did I think I was to do this? Everyone's going to laugh at me now because now I've said this is the next best thing. And now I've realized I've got to do this, and this. And I'm kind of trying to do it, but I'm not getting any results. Actually, stuff this. Like, I'd be happier if I just spent more time with my kids. I didn't have the stress and the worry. Like, I'm out. Or maybe you change your goal because you encounter some challenges and difficulties when you realize you've got to do this, and this. So this is where people mostly crash and burn. They go down here. They like crash and burn out of this phase. Like, oh my God, this doesn't add up to this. I'm putting in so much effort. I'm not getting anything out. And then they're gone. Or you get out of your vehicle again and you do a complete and utter U-turn and you go, oh, but my other friend or someone else I saw is doing this. And so maybe this is the answer. So what happens here, this crisis of meaning point, is you normally like slam on the brakes, you spin your car around, you go right back to the first dot again, you see another shiny thing, and you go straight back to uninformed optimism again. This excitement, this is where like it's really exciting. And so you start something else. Uninformed optimism again. Maybe you don't even give up on this thing, but you start something else because like that makes sense to you in that moment. This might be the thing though. And then what happens then? You get to this point again, this informed pessimism before you know it. And you realize, oh man, there's more to this than I thought. And this kind of sucks as well. Oh shit, it's way harder than I thought. Crisis of meaning again. What the hell am I doing? Let me do some soul searching. I need to really dig deep. What am I meant to do? And you get to this crisis of meaning point again for like the second time or the third time or the 10th time. So it's uninformed optimism. And you do it again and again and again and again. And most people just keep going around in this circle because at this crisis of meaning point, you've got to beat the boss. You all seen it on video games, right? Have you seen it on video games where like you get to the end of the level and you've got to beat like the meanest, toughest boss in the business game. And you don't pass the level until you beat the biggest, baddest boss, right? And the thing is, in video games, when you die in video games, you just restart. It takes seconds, if like a minute max. But when this happens in entrepreneurship, it can take weeks, months, years even to start again. And it can also take weeks, months, and years even for your audience to take you seriously. And the problem is most people, when they get to this point, they keep fighting the same boss and they just don't learn the lesson. They keep losing. And I know this because I hear it over and over and over again, the hundreds and thousands of entrepreneurs that I have coached in my time. Hell, I see it on my newsfeed every single day. 1 minute someone's an expert in whatever course they're selling. The next minute they're selling makeup. The next minute they're starting coaching or a membership. And the next minute they're recruiting for something else. And you're like, what are they doing? I'm confused. And the goal is getting through the big boss of that crisis of meaning point. You need to get through this point because only when you get through that big boss, only when you pass that test, do you get to the next level, which is informed optimism. And you realize, oh my God, I just did this and I made progress. And then I did this and I made a little bit more progress. And now I realize, maybe if you think about it, in terms of what I'm teaching in my Iconic Growth Academy or what I teach inside my membership, you have to do certain things to build a business. One of those is figuring out your content, your messaging. How do you show up online? How do you speak? How do you talk about the things that, your offer then leads your content and then leads people to your offer? How do you do that in a way that feels really good for you? So you need to figure out content and having a content system. You then need to figure out audience growth because it's all right having this thing to sell, but if you're going to want to sell it to, you're screwed. And so audience growth is the next thing that you need to figure out. You need to figure out creating your offer and how you're going to make daily sales. And And these are all stages that maybe you realize at this point. But when you get to the crisis of meaning, unless you start taking the action, now you're informed, you know what you need to do. Are you going to like take the next steps, start taking action, start seeing progress, start getting results, or are you just going to keep going round in this cycle? Most people just keep going round in this cycle. So to get to like the informed optimism, you need to start taking the action. You need to start doing the steps that you need to do in order to get to where you need to go, which is this achievement. This is where the results come in. So, thinking about it and looking at my students, I know that I was talking to Charlotte earlier, who is a platinum student of mine. Like when she got started me, she didn't know what an email list was. She had no idea what launching was. She wanted to launch a fitness program. She had nobody on her email list, so nobody was listening to her. She didn't know how to do her content. She never heard of an opt-in page. She never heard of a sales page. She didn't know how to do all of that stuff. But now, and I think we're maybe 12 to 18 months on, Charlotte's had multiple really successful launches. She's just been flown out to the Middle East to deliver a talk that she got paid for in front of a lot of like enterprises that are now giving her a deal in an enterprise. The deal on the table, it's not sorted yet, so I can't say she's 100% done this, but it looks like it's all going through. That they're going to pay her to do a 30-day like health wellness challenge for their workforce. And it's around the £30,000 mark. Sorry, $30,000 mark. I wish about 28 grand, right? There's nothing in it now, the dollar and the pound. But my point being is that, when she got to the point where she's like, oh my God, I just wanted to launch a fitness program. And I know I've got to do this. I've got to do an opt-in page. I've got to plan out my launch. I've got to learn how to grow my audience, right? And so that's when she became informed, but she started taking the steps. And those steps have led to her being flown out into the Middle East and, getting paid to do a talk in front of like amazing enterprises and then getting a £30,000 deal. She set up a CIC. She's got nearly £40,000 worth of grants and funding. She's growing her audience. She started at zero. I know she's got way more than 3,000 now on her email list. And she hasn't been massively focused on that. And so my point being is that she could have given up here and been like, oh my God, this is too difficult. I can't figure this out. So I'm just going to go back to the beginning. Let me think of something else. So she set up her audience growth engine. She started to take the action, see the results. She grew her audience. She launched her thing. She got better results. Then her sales increased, and then they increased, and then they increased. And then she got this opportunity to go to the Middle East. And so, excuse me, you've got to go through this crisis of meaning point, but you've got to keep taking the action to be able to get to this achievement point. Otherwise, you're just going around and around in the same damn cycle. And then, when you start to see the results, then, all her friends are like, hey, what are you doing? And then you're like, oh, I've got this thing going on and it's great. And they're all like, oh, have you? Like, where did you learn that? And how could I do that? But crisis of meaning is the point where people start over. Or they crash and burn out, maybe for a little bit of time, maybe for a long time, and then they start again. And this is the problem that I see over and over and over and over again. So who here, you don't have to answer in the chat, you don't have to like expose yourself, but you can answer to yourself, like who here has had more than one business in the last 2 years? And neither of those businesses, minimum of 2 businesses, neither of those businesses are at the point where it gives you freedom or it gives you the level of revenue that you really, really want. And yet you keep thinking about doing new things. And so the answer is not to do new things. It is to get past this crisis of meaning point into this informed optimism. And this is why I've set up my challenge that I'm doing next week. It's a real like no BS challenge. It is about helping you find your big idea. So you might have like a lot of things going on. You might have done that and you might be in this uninformed like optimism stage where you don't realize like you got to do this, and this to get to where you want to get to. And I'm just going to give it you straight in this challenge. You might be someone who doesn't have a business idea and you want to come there and see what it is. You might be doing something and you think, well, I'm not sure, Emma, because I feel like this is not my thing. But I don't know what it is, or I've got this other idea, or I've got these like 10, 15 offers and I don't understand why nothing is selling. Like, come along to the challenge. I'm going to give you like real-time feedback. I'm going to be speaking to you guys one-on-one. I'm going to be on a Q&A every single night, 8 p.m. every night in the challenge. So I'm going to give you a little thing to do in the morning of the challenge. I'm going to give away prizes for you doing the really short task. It'll probably take you no more than 10 minutes. And I'm going to be there for like real-time feedback, because I want you to figure out the big idea. I want you to figure out the one thing that you should be focusing on that's going to bring you the biggest return. I want you to be doing things that you love. And so I don't want people to be getting stuck in these phases and get into this crisis of meaning phase. I want you to move past that and actually go towards building the business that you freaking love. That you know exactly what it takes. And so I won't hold back on any of exactly what it takes. I'll go from like day one, talking about the big idea, right the way through to the roadmap, the things that you're going to need to do to build the business that you really want to build. And I'm going to give it you straight in terms of exactly what that's going to look like, because it's normally a lot more than people think. But if you know that in the beginning, you're not going to get to that kind of uninformed optimism phase. You're not going to have to go through that crisis of meaning. You're just going to like pivot that bend, and you're going to keep taking action, and you're going to go towards results. So if you want to join that challenge, the link is in the title. You can grab it there. You can comment big idea into the comments, and I'll drop you in the link myself. So you can come and join us in the challenge. We've got lots of prizes, lots of fun. There's over 6,200 people, or 6,800 people, because there's some being waiting to get into the group. 6,800 people that will be inside of the challenge. So you'll be in good company, because everyone's in the same space. Everyone needs answers. But this is something I wish I had at the beginning. I wish that somebody would have said to me like, that's a shit idea, Em. If you do it like this, though, this will really work. Like, I didn't have that. I didn't have anyone to go to that would just tell me straight, like, you're wasting your time with that. But if you do it this way, I'm never going to tell you it's just a crap idea. I'm always going to give you like, no, that won't work. But if you do it this way, this is much better. I've seen lots of evidence. So like, this business model works. Or I'll give you like examples of my students. I have so many that, to be fair, like, I don't really get many inventors inside my challenges. They're normally people that want to start businesses, that I can give them 10 other examples of people running that business right now really successfully. And this is how they're doing it. This is how they're seeing results. So if you want to get in that kind of group, then you want to type big idea, or I thought it was a really big fly, but a Sean coming in to bring me some sweets. But yeah, you can just type big idea into the comments, or click on the link and join the challenge. It starts on Monday. I have got a welcome party on Sunday evening where I'll be giving away some prizes as well. So don't miss out. I want to see you there.